Hey everyone, awesome to be hanging out again on the show, and today we're just tracking through our hobby project journey, and so far we've learnt about wireframing things out, we've turned out what we're hoping to accomplish, we've even developed a bit of a game plan for how we're going to do it. We've found the triggers that are going to be our point where we sit down, and that's the time in our day when we're going to be working on our hobby project and moving it forward. Well, today I just wanted to talk about developing a laser focus. So this is obviously a problem for pretty much all of us. If you looked at all of our GitHub repos, we'd find things that have distracted us from half-finished projects and all that kind of stuff. And we're saying we're breaking out of that. We're becoming finishers. Okay, so that means that we have to be able to cultivate or develop the ability to focus really hard on a problem for just a while till we get it done and we finish it and we ship it. And that's really been the journey of this whole course. Well, today I want to talk specifically about focus. So you know what you need to do over the next month. You've worked that out, you've wireframed it, you've got your big kind of clumps of functionality that you have to get done through. So now we're really at a stage where we sit down and we just need to focus. Well, today on the show I just want to give you 3 little tools that I use that might be helpful. These don't have to be the ones that you use. Like everything, you don't need to take anyone's advice about these kinds of things, but here's a little bit of inspiration if you're into it. First thing that I found works really well is a thing called the Pomodoro technique. You may have heard of this, you may have even played with it in your past, and I suggest that you just give it a go. And how this technique works is you take a basic timer, any timer you find on the web. I use that egg timer one, which I'm linking to in the show notes today. But you basically take a timer, you set it for 25 minutes, and in that 25 minutes you're allowed to do nothing but work on the tasks that you're working on. So if you're coding the scaffold UI of your app, or you're putting in the infrastructure in place for you to be able to do a build for your mobile, or you are scoping out some back-end code or developing a Docker image, or whatever it is for the next half an hour, 25 minutes, you're focused just on that, which means you shut down your email, social media, you turn off your phone, you put it on silent, all that kind of stuff. So absolutely everything. Now during those 25 minutes, things occur to you. You go, oh, I have to remember to follow up about that dentist appointment, or I need to make sure I touch base with so-and-so today before he goes home because I want to find out about something. Those things you can just jot down. Just jot them down on a piece of paper or a note or something that's just nearby, but don't action them. Don't get distracted by them. Don't ring the phone. That all happens at the end of your 25 minutes. So you work for that 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. Okay, in that 5-minute break, you have a stretch, rest, all that sort of stuff, and then you can follow up other things before you start your next Pomodoro. But the main thing is that for those 25 minutes, that is sacred time for focus. And this is the way that we develop a habit of being focused for periods of time. And you might say, well, I'm into flow, I need to be able to get in the zone and stay there for hours and hours. Can I just say that this is a tremendously useful capability to be able to engage yourself fully in that zone flow space in 25 minutes on demand. So work on this habit regardless of how you feel about flow and all that other stuff. Work on this habit first, because this will definitely move you forward in your journey to focus and get things done. So the second thing that I want to encourage you outside the Pomodoro technique, now I'll link to the egg timer Pomodoro thing so you can try it out for yourself and see how it works for you. Because if you've just got like a 30-minute block at your lunch hour, or when you sit down for your cup of tea, or when you come back from your run, or when you pick up your kids, if that's your trigger for working on your stuff, doing just one Pomodoro of work every day, 25 minutes, that gives you like 2.5 hours a week, which is like, nearly a whole afternoon of time that you've created for yourself of really genuine focused moving forward time. So I'll link with that, definitely worth checking out. Second tool I want to talk about today is Trello. Many of you may have used that as well. Again, you can dive deep into this stuff and just waste like tons and tons and tons of time. But I just wanted to show you now on screen my Trello board at the moment for the project that I'm working on. As you can see, I have this first column, which is just our backlog. If I brain dump just all kinds of stuff that may not make it to this current month that I'm working on things, but I want to capture it somewhere, so I just stick it in that Trello backlog and I'll let it accumulate there way down the bottom where it doesn't kind of matter. Then I have a commitment block that I do for this week, just a few tasks I really want to get done this week, so I have a column for that. And then I have a in process kind of block in the middle there, which is like I'm working on this stuff right now. So when I sit down tomorrow morning at my trigger point, I am going to open up this Trello board and I know in progress right now is that thing. If I'm done on the in progress column, if that's empty, then I'll just go to my this week stuff and I'll start pulling from that. So that just gives me a really good low friction way, and this is really all about friction reduction. Okay, so when you sit down, you're not wasting time thinking, what do I need to be working on today, or oh gee, I'm just not sure what my next steps are. All of that friction is taken away. So when you sit down and you start your Pomodoro, boom, there's something you can work on straight away. And then I have a done column for this week and a done for like archive and shipped. But that's only because I really like the idea of seeing how much I can pull off in a week, and I find that encouraging and motivating. Again, this is not you have to, this is not best practice, this is just Glenn's practice. You find a flow that works for you. This is just some inspiration to get you started. The third thing I think is kind of cute, and I'll show you this on screen as well, is you can get plugins for your browsers, whether you use Firefox, Safari, or whether you use Chrome. There's plugins that show you your streak in GitHub, which is how many days you've committed to this progress on this particular project. Now this is sometimes called the Seinfeld break the chain principle, because Jerry Seinfeld had this thing where like every day he had a calendar, he would mark out the days that he wrote. Okay, so today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write comedy, so he would cross that off, and then suddenly he had a chain of those things in a row. Now when you've got 1 or 2, that's not like super motivating, but it's something. But when you've got like 10 or 20 or 50 or 100, you're really motivated to not break that chain. So I think if you could set up, why don't you set a goal for yourself that I'm going to have a 30-day chain. I'm going to build a 30-day chain on this hobby project, so that every day, and we said, you know, that commit can be tiny. It can be like, I'm really not feeling it today, I've got no motivation. I'm just going to open up the editor, update the README, commit it, and that does my chain thing. So these plugins operate on your GitHub repo and show you this stuff that, as you can see on the screen right now, how many days in a row that I've been committing to this project. So I'm going to be able to show this at the end of 30 days and show you that I'm going to have a 30-day streak. Even if it's just a README change some days, I'm going to streak every day, so to not break this chain of commits for a month. That's going to be awesome. All right, that's all I wanted to talk about today, team. Have a fantastic progress deal going on for yourselves. Set your Pomodoros this week, and set your Trello board up for the things you want to get done, or whatever tool works for you, if it's paper or anything else, and just go for it and get this moving forward. If you haven't yet subscribed to our newsletter, Motivated Programmer, I send out a weekly email of just stuff to keep you pumping and keep you moving forward and give you some encouragement. So sign up for that. There's a sign up in the link below this video, so make sure you jump on to that. Awesome, can't wait to see you for next time. We're going to be hanging out and talking a bit about programmer self-care and self-compassion. It's going to be interesting and super worth checking out, so we'll see you then.